Welcome, folks, to another episode of Who's Ghost Stories. I'm Andrew Huzar of Huzar Reiki and Readings. I've got our research expert, Sean, and our paranormal enthusiast, Professor Alex Wheaton. Today, we've got a pretty famous, locally famous area here. I wouldn't say it rivals. If you're outside Erie, you're probably never going to hear of this one. If you're outside Erie County. But we've got the Eagle Hotel located in Waterford, PA. We're going to be talking about today. It's got a restaurant in there now. But one of the things that I believe Waterford always claims is that George Washington passed through there and he may have stayed there. I don't know. I'll let Sean dive into the research, but I am excited to talk about this because old building, old hotels, historic. I love history, so I'm happy for this one, but take it away, Sean.
The Eagle Hotel is located in Waterford, PA, and it was built in 1826 on the former site of the French Fort LeBoeuf. In 1753, George Washington visited the fort, warning them to withdraw their forces. The French did leave and burn the fort down in 1759, causing the English to build a new fort on the locations, which were also burnt down in 1763. Ironically enough, the Eagle Hotel has survived 2 fires.
One of these fires was allegedly set by a disgruntled maid in 1845. This maid was known as Matilda, and she is rumored to still haunt the hotel to this day. Former employees have claimed to see cupboards open on their own, disembodied voices calling their names, and footsteps being heard, along with items being moved.
There is the story of a male soldier haunting the grounds along with the sound of a baby crying on the second floor. People have felt cold spots and gusts of wind as if something was moving past them. The Eagle Hotel is not only a historical site, but today it is a restaurant that you can visit. What is the name of it? It's the Sugar and Spice. Sugar and Spice. It is unknown. That was a loud crotch rocket.
It was very loud. It's snowing outside.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Anyway, it is unknown if the spirit of Matilda is still haunting this locale, or if it has more to do with the town of Waterford still being on top of the former fort cemetery. But one thing for sure, there is something eerie happening at this hotel.
So one thing to mention...
that LeBoeuf is literally the beef in French?
Yep.
It's the beef fort.
Of the beef. Supposedly, according to this article, which, from a really cool website called Spooky Eats, they rate haunted restaurants based on a spooky reading and a yummy
Eats
reading.
or Spooky Eats?
Could have been either one. But so they were there to rate it. And on the spooky side, it got a 7 out of 10. Yummy, 10 out of 10. Their research added that supposedly the bodies of soldiers are buried beneath the hotel, and they were never moved.
Oh, to be fair, the fort was there.
Yeah, the fort was there, and technically the whole town is on where the cemetery was. So there's essentially bodies buried under the whole town.
And that would explain any ghost soldiers, not just at the Eagle Hotel, but anywhere. But like, I love history, and I love hearing the history of this. French fort, they just burnt it on their way out. English built a fort, burnt down. The hotel survives 2 fires, one set by a maid. Like,
I just want to point out how much I love the idea that the French abandoned the fort, was like, we're not going to give them anything to work with. Burn it down. And then legitimately the English build it, and then it burns down.
Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't have built a hotel there after that much bad luck to begin with.
But that hotel has already survived more fires than the previous forts.
Now, and like, what I like about this one, it's almost a palate cleanser from some of the other things that we've talked about, is it doesn't sound like there's any bad haunting. Some of them do sound like a nuisance. Like, it sounds like a lot of the people that have tales of Matilda it's a nuisance. One thing that I thought was cool that Spook Eats or Spooky Eats, whoever they are, read was that guests have claimed to see silverware flying from tables.
Yeah.
Which that would be so cool to see. But like nothing like comes off as like this is not a place you're allowed to be. Like Old Crowley Mansion, you could see a spirit saying, "Don't come here." It doesn't feel like any of the haunts are like.
And I think part of that has to do with the fact that Matilda was a maid.
Yeah.
So she was used to being basically a servant.
And a disgruntled maid at that, so.
And if she were constantly moving, dishes and silverware.
Oh, yeah.
And it leads to it that silverware and things are still moving there.
Yeah.
And I do like the thought, like, she was so disgruntled, she tried to burn the hotel down, so now she spends the rest of eternity haunting the place by opening cupboards and, like, pushing people's silverware onto the floor. Like...
running out of business.
Yeah.
If I can't burn it down, I'm going to tear it down from within.
But she's not trying to do anything terrible. She's just mildly inconvenient.
Right. She's being passive-aggressive haunting. Like, she doesn't want to inconvenience anybody, but... she wants to inconvenience people. She doesn't want to hurt anybody.
She's like, "There's your butter knife. You have to go get it." And, like, the baby crying, like, that's probably the scariest one to me, just because everything I read was, like, you'll hear the baby crying, but when you reach, like, a certain room or a certain area, like, it just stops dead.
Yeah. And I don't know. I was trying to think of an explanation for that, and I mean, it was a hotel. I don't know if a child tragically passed away there. I don't know. Forts generally didn't have non-soldiers, so
right. It would definitely be connected to the hotel more than anything. I mean, if you really want to dig into that, like the reality is, and this gets into a philosophical debate we do not need to get into, but if a woman had a miscarriage in a room, what does the miscarried child leave behind? Something like there's so much with it that just there's not answers to, and like I said, that digs into a conversation that doesn't have to happen during one of these, but it's
even if it wasn't. And I mean, we all know about sudden infant death. Like
anything could have happened.
And like the hotel was opened in 1826, and it was the first place in Waterford, pretty much. So, like, it was only travelers that would be staying there. So, I mean, you could definitely see a baby or an infant or child, like, tragically passing there.
And then them just leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of possibilities with that. So it's just, really one of the only things that's ever bothered me in any kind of haunting and paranormal stuff is infant crying, because that is a completely different level of what happened here. Because not that it's acceptable, but you can understand soldiers, you can understand
older people,
like you can understand a lot of people that even murdered. You're like, I get it, but when kids and especially babies, like that gets into a whole nother realm that just, it's hard. It's like with animals.
Right.
It's so hard to understand where exactly that's coming from. So
especially because like inside us, like when you hear a baby crying, like your instincts like to go help or figure out what's wrong. So like when you hear it and then there's nothing going on, like it's an extra level of terror.
Yeah.
So like, and like I don't think anything's ever come from the crying besides the crying, so I can't say it's something bad, but like that's if I was staying there and I experienced all of the things they say, like I saw the soldier, Matilda knocked my book off my nightstand, and then I heard the crying. The crying is definitely the one thing that'd be like, all right, so I'm just gonna leave.
Well, and we always say too, it's not necessarily a spirit, could be imprinted sound.
Yeah.
Like there could have been a child that did end up passing away, but had stayed there for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
And it's echoes.
It's hard to trace something like that as far as history speaking. Like because it is a hotel, there's so many people in and out.
And there's already so much history with the hotel. Like, even this says U.S. President Zachary Taylor supposedly stayed there.
Yep.
Like, there's already so much history
Black
there that
Power Ranger.
it would, apparently, it would be easy for like something like that, even though it was a tragedy, to like slip through the cracks of time.
Oh yeah,
Like, you wouldn't be talking about the ghost baby of the Eagle Hotel with everything else that's happened there.
Right.
As sad as that is, but like, it doesn't sound like, and like, I almost wonder like if it is more of an imprint because nothing else has ever been said of a baby. Like, no one's ever seen a baby. You walk up the stairs looking for the crying, and it just stops. Like,
Right.
Okay, time to get a new job. And that's one thing cool that like it mentions in there too. Like, the restaurant, we've been there, is so nice and like well lit. Like, you would never expect it to be haunted, but supposedly if you talk to the staff, like, they're all like, "Oh yeah, Matilda, she moved my time card 6 inches to the left one day." Like, that's Scallywag.
And I mean, you go there and you go into the nice little waiting area that they have, and it's like going to what's called Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
Like,
And I think there's even a bakery in there too. Like,
yeah.
It's not, you would never suspect it to be haunted, which almost like makes it even funnier that Matilda is haunting this place. Like, the least suspectable haunted place, and she's just noping people. She doesn't want to do anything terrible.
No.
She just wants you to know, like, hey, I'm not happy that you're here. But also, I'm not going to do anything to you. But that fork, it's now dirty. You have to get a new one. I would love to be able to stay there, but I don't think they have guests anymore that stay there. I think it's just a
the
restaurant.
second and third floors museum. I was in this. Yeah, I was. That's why I was like, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, can we stay here? But yeah, they converted the second and third floor over the last 40 years. They restored a lot of the work. They got donated furniture. They got stuff from the actual hotel and everything. And so the second and third floor is now a museum that you can go to. So we would definitely have to check it out. I think this is, I don't know that we can record there, but we can definitely take pictures and we can talk about our experiences afterwards.
All right, so I think we have figured out that we may be able to actually take a trip here.
Well, at the very least, eat there, because it's 10 out of 10 yummy.
Yeah, I know. And then we got to go on the museum here.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a museum upstairs, so good reading.
Yeah. I'm good at fast skim.
Yeah.
That's what going to college gets you. Learn how to skim. Professionally. But no, yeah, this is definitely something I think we should do a little follow-up on.
No, I completely agree, and it would definitely be worth following up on. We could even do an extra little lead-in video if we can find out some more of the history.
Oh man, we can go there with Jordan.
Oh, we could.
He's our Waterford native.
Yeah, he would know everything about it. He might be related to Matilda.
Oh God.
Aunt Matilda, yeah, she was a firecracker, all right.
He went to Fort LaBeouf.
That'd be really cool to.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
How were you?
He was in. That's where he went to grade school, I think. Because
okay. So it's like, I thought you guys went to prep together.
Yeah, he went to prep.
Okay.
But he lives out there. I think his family still has the same plot of land, same horses and everything. But yeah, I this is probably one of the cooler places that I would like to visit. Definitely would have to grab a bite of eat. See if we can get Matilda to do something to our table.
We'll ask for extra silverware.
We'll just keep our phones rolling on the table and hope that something gets knocked over without one of us doing anything. And then walking through the museum too, like it would be really cool. Like I know they got this picture of like an orb. Like I wonder, like walking through, just taking pictures of the museum, like how many orbs would be there? Because like you said, it was a hotel. So as we established in our other Nikki's Pub, like a hotel, you've got people coming and going, and then for this one,
it was a fort at one point too
with soldiers. So like there could just be a bunch of soldiers, spirits hanging out, or even patrons. And
it's interesting to think about the possibilities. I definitely anticipate if and when we go and visit here, and if we can take at least photographs. I do imagine we'll probably have orbs. It'll be interesting to note if there are orbs, what color they are. Everything that we've seen, like Matilda is the only angry, and it's not even angry.
It's disgruntled.
It's just disgruntled. So it's like it's a really interesting.
She started with a fire, and now she's just moving stuff.
It just, to me, it seems like there's not negative energy there.
Yeah.
There's just energy.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be interesting for us to visit this. I think I know we've covered a lot between last season and this season. We've actually been to a lot of places. We've talked about a lot of places, and most of the places we go have a very negative feeling.
Yeah.
That or
Negative, neutral.
yeah. The best we had was the tranquility that we had when we visited Wintergreen Gorge.
Yeah.
Because of Dutch. Like, legitimately, that was the only peaceful, and this seems to be like the time around peaceful thing, because everything else has some kind of negative history to it. This one just seems neutral, and I'm excited, and I do kind of want to see how it feels.
No, I agree. I don't expect we'd find anything evil or negative. And I almost feel like asking Matilda to try to do something she's so disgruntled she almost wouldn't. That would be her new FU.
Or now I'm not going
she'd
to.
go mess with somebody else's table. Like, all right, well. But yeah, I'm
Or
looking
it's the
for
breaking point. She stabs us in the neck with a spoon.
This is it. But yeah, I'm excited to go there to check out the restaurant and then the museum. We'll have to, of course, do some digging to see hours and stuff. But this summer, I think we're gonna have to take a trip over there.
So stay tuned for possible follow-ups.
Eagle Hotel 2 Electric Boogaloo. But Sean, what would you expect, and what are your final thoughts on this one?
I definitely agree, piggybacking off of both of you, that I do believe that we would see some kind of orb activity because we're the orb guys.
That's gonna be our troop name.
If anything, I would
Shirts.
I would assume that it would probably be clear or white orbs. I don't really see there being anything oppressive or anything like that. Like we've eaten Thanksgiving dinner there. Like it's a restaurant. And it's usually a busy enough place that if something does get knocked on the floor, you're probably just going to assume that either you did it or a waitress did it.
Probably makes Matilda even that much angrier. Or maybe even happier, like, they don't even know it's me.
But I've never been on the upper floors, so it'd be interesting to visit them and see if we see or experience anything up there, because of all the times downstairs, never even had a feeling that the place was haunted.
No, I agree. So, I think that does it for today. But come back next time. We'll explore some more local haunts. We've got a whole list. We've got 4 books now. So even if something is more Axe Murder Hollow local legend, we will talk about it to help shed some more light on it. But thanks for stopping by. We are the Orb Guys.
The Orb Guys.
The Orbies.
Like and subscribe for more Orb Guy content.
Thanks, guys.
Stay in the light.